Welcome to the Hired Not Fired podcast, brought to you by The Real Me, the soft skills first talent solution that helps employers hire entry level employees with better developed soft skills such as communication, problem solving, or emotional intelligence. Join us as we sit down with hiring managers, talent leaders, and others and get insider tips to help Gen Z stand out and get hired. Let's dive in. Hey there, welcome back to this new episode of Hired Not Fired. I am delighted to introduce this week's guest. We have Matt Wisner, the Senior Director of Strategic Talent Pipelines for Walmart. Matt has 20 years experience in talent acquisition, currently working for Walmart leading strategic talent pipelines. He oversees early career, military talent, and untapped talent for Walmart and Sam's Club. Matt, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on the show because I know our audience would like to learn a little bit more about the retail industry. What's it like working in retail for early career and specifically Walmart?
Yeah, so I've been at Walmart just under a year, so relatively new, but kind of getting acclimated. And as you mentioned, lead the early career space, and that's for Walmart and Sam's Club, as well as military talent, and then called untapped talent, but we're really focused for the foreseeable future on kind of internal mobility around our Live Better You program. If you're unfamiliar with Live Better You, it's a pretty awesome benefit for field associates at Walmart. Should they want to pursue and keep working at Walmart, they can get a debt-free 4-year degree, as well as certifications related to in-demand jobs at Walmart. One example of that would be like a pharmacy tech role. And while they already work at Walmart, as you may imagine, at a company so big, it can still be a daunting task, kind of navigate different jobs across the company. So we're coming in to kind of support that journey and help them navigate those new career opportunities as they're upskilling kind of in education. So I feel very fortunate. These are like really cool spaces to work in my opinion. I feel very fortunate to kind of have the role and the focus areas I do. In terms of retail, I mean, no secret, prior to Walmart, I had a long tenure at Amazon. So I kind of had that background as well. Amazon, of course, over that, I was there for 14 years. So over that period of time, went from kind of a pretty retail oriented company to many other things and technology focused. So that kind of evolved, but I had kind of that background from before. And I think that's an interesting journey that I think a lot of big retailers find themselves on, is just how they're kind of evolving with technology. And then as generative AI is upon us, how they're evolving in that way too. And the implications it has down to talent and early career is really interesting. I find it very exciting. And I think it's really exciting for early career. And what I've found actually so far is um, we're all kind of, acclimating to this, using it, figuring out how it's going to be helpful for us and shape the future. Early career, I'd say, is on the forefront. And so it's really, they're coming out kind of much more native, I would say, in this skill set. And I think that's pretty interesting with respect to what they might bring to companies and the value they'll bring after that.
That's a really good point that you bring up, that they really are kind of the first wave of these beginning to be AI literate we talked on the show, we've talked before about they're using AI for their resumes and their cover letters. And we know that many companies are using AI in their talent acquisition. But you really bring up a really good point that it's a lot more than that. They're bringing with them a better familiarity, especially as they grow with AI. So do you have anything to share about the extent that you see AI in the applicant pool and how that might be influencing the way you approach?
Yeah, so for like technical roles like software engineer, I think I think there'll be an evolution of that role, generally speaking. What that exactly is will be different, I think, tomorrow than what it was yesterday. So we're on that journey. it's generally, I'm pretty convicted it's going to help people do their jobs better. There is, I think, a plot line out there that I would not subscribe to personally, which is generative AI will displace early career jobs. I don't think that's going to happen for a number of reasons. One, just from a labor perspective, you can't like not employ early career. That's not going to work out. You'll lose your principal engineers of tomorrow. But from a skills perspective, and with respect to what I just said, um, they're rapidly progressing in the skill, and I would hypothesize they might get to like what we consider maybe more mid-level now at a faster rate than we've ever seen before. Yeah,
because
with
of
that,
AI.
yeah, with that. And so then you kind of look at what happens with the rest of the labor and how they might upskill or do different things. And I think it'll be interesting. But I think I don't know if I'd subscribe to kind of that the plot line that all early career goes away and that's gonna I think it'll be changed and roles will change. But what I can see so far, I would place my bet on they'll upskill faster,
Mhm.
and that will be valuable for to companies for many different reasons.
Well, I think that's a very hopeful message that I think
Mhm.
listeners will take away with them. I see that you place a large emphasis on skills first hiring. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so majority of the roles at Walmart don't require a degree. And so that's one important step. If you do that, it doesn't necessarily mean you're automatically skills first hiring, or that even enables folks without degrees to get those jobs. And I think there's a lot of other things that go along with that. And I've been so impressed since coming to Walmart around kind of the whole ecosystem around skills, which includes kind of we have a common taxonomy we use here. There's technology around that. When I came into Walmart as an associate, the information I had on a resume and the information that I provide after getting here is baked into that skills taxonomy and then starts to map to like jobs in that common taxonomy and recommend you jobs. And that's all outside of like pedigree degrees and very and like skills focus. And it's a journey in terms of like how that all fits together and works. But to be frank, I've worked at another company for a while. I have peers at a lot of other companies. I feel like Walmart's really leading here. And I'm proud to be kind of associated with that. And it kind of makes sense. Walmart has the biggest employee population in the world. And so
Wow.
there's a huge tailwind there if you can leverage it. And I think the skills is a big part of that. And so where you can understand the skills you have across your organization, especially at such a size, and what's needed in the future, then you can really, I think, do some powerful things with internal mobility and growing people's careers.
Mhm. Well, what about let's talking about the early career folks, kids just out of school, or if they didn't go to school, they're young enough so that they don't really have much in the way of things to put on their resume. What kind of skills are you looking for in these newbies for non-technical roles?
Yeah. So I actually think so in early career, you essentially, yeah, you have someone that might be pursuing a degree. Um, and usually the resumes look very similar.
Yes.
So like, yeah, they're getting the degree, it's in the thing, and maybe great. It's actually great if they pursue some kind of certifications or experiences or even like unpaid work or things like that, projects they can list. Because it does help differentiate a bit. But I think outside of that, you're looking for some of those things that just help in any situation. And so actually in the case of those LBU, those folks going through Live Better U program I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
um, in my mind, like that, like I, they're amazing because so one, they're getting their degree while they're working full time at Walmart. That's hard, just period. And then the part where so they have the degree, which is equivalent to kind of what you'd see out of your early career person. They have the persistence and grit factor, I would say, doing that while they're employed. That's hard to do. And then last, they
Absolutely.
have like that Walmart, potentially Sam's Club experience and context that they can bring. There's a very kind of impressive package.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's interesting. And I'd also say for us, and as a large retail organization, we have a lot of folks that are early career and or meet our early career eligibility criteria that are just working in stores.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great I think, thing to think about and pursue if you're thinking about a retail opportunity or an opportunity at Walmart. You likely could like pursue one of those jobs for the summer or when even part-time in school, and it helps. Like you understand what's going on in the store and you can bring that back. And then I think outside of that, it's just kind of uh, problem solving, those other things like grit and persistence of the ways you could like demonstrate that. It could be professional experiences. It could be like things I did in school, projects where I had to work, common things that translate over to the job you're pursuing. I think those are interesting. It's that can be hard to list on a resume or in a very differentiated way, but certainly I think as you potentially get into like interview situations, it's good to be kind of have those crisp, clear examples that are very relatable.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I think we'll pause there. And in the next episode, we'll talk a little bit about the internship program at Walmart and how applicants can stand out. So stay tuned and we'll see you in part 2.